This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Well, joining us today is Nick Tulloch, the CEO of Voyager Life. Thank you very much for your time. Nick, how are you?
Oh, very, very well, Mark. And how about you?
Yes, very good. Thank you, Nick. Looking forward to getting started as everyone goes back to their desks. We now hit September. I know you, of course, have not been taking too much of a holiday throughout the typical summer holidays. Of course, last time we spoke, you were on site in Kansas at indeed the Fort Dodge, the Rost well, your flagship project. And the news announced this morning that pre-production is underway at that well. So that was something you wanted to get started pretty quickly, and you've pretty much got on and done it, haven't you? So, I mean, as far as I remember from the last time we spoke, you've pretty much ticked off a few of the items. You were getting things ready. The pad was ready. You were going to get the PSA, that's the purifier, on site. And I've noticed from the RNS that is installed. Power is indeed on the way. And you're hoping to start production, before the end of September. So how does it feel, first of all? What's your comments on this?
Oh, well, all good, actually. And I guess when you and I last spoke, I mean, there was a pretty big hint in there that we were on site and the powder was in place and some of the equipment was starting to be installed. I think we had the water tanks at the time. What we've got now is the PSA arrived. Actually arrived just a few days after you and I last spoke. The pump is on site and installed. And I mean, you kind of said it yourself. We're waiting for the power to be put in. This is actually not a big job. Where we are in Rost is, you think of Kansas, this large remote place. Actually, we're about 100 feet off the road. So getting the power point put in on the roadside is not difficult. It's why we were able to get it done so quickly. Once the power is in, the PSA will be commissioned, and then we're ready to start producing.
Excellent. So that's grid power straight from the grid.
Yeah, it is. I mean, everything's straight in Kansas. So where you and I were talking last, there is a long straight road that goes straight past the site. Power cables, three-phase power goes down that road. We will put in an access point, which is essentially what it is. That then gives us power for the PSA, which does run off electricity, as does the pump, of course. And once that's in, the PSA, I mean, we're saying it'll take 7 to 10 days to commission. The engineer was telling me there's about 3 miles of wiring inside the PSA. When you look at it from the outside, it's a series of cylinders, but actually the technology inside is pretty special. So it will take a little bit of time to commission. But once that's up and running, I think we said in the announcement this morning, we're able to purify helium on site. So we'll get somewhere between about a 20 to 50% concentration. And that's with 5% coming out of the wellhead. And then that makes it economic to transport. And where we are in Rost, we're not really near enough a gathering system to put in a line. So what we'll do is we'll truck the helium, and there's a couple of options there as well.
Yeah, okay. So that 20 to 50%, then that is sort of concentrated pure helium, and the rest of the volume is made up of other gases.
Yeah, it varies at our different wells. In Rost, it's mostly nitrogen, but the value in the gas mix is helium. And if you're trucking the product from A to B, you want to truck the valuable stuff. You don't necessarily want to truck too much of the the waste product. So the more we can concentrate it, the better value the trucking will be. But even at 5%, it's economic to truck. At 20 to 50%, then it's now a highly valuable cargo and makes the journey more than worthwhile.
Good. And I know the RNS mentioned that the flow rate was measured at 47,100 cubic feet per day. I wonder if you could put that into some context that we could perhaps understand, whether it's monetary terms or something that we can understand a bit more, how valuable that is.
Well, so at 47 MCF, or sort of 47,100 standard cubic feet, and at 5.1% helium, we should be producing around about 2.4, 2.5 MCF of helium per day. I think every helium company in the world gets different pricing for the helium. But if you look at sort of average pricing between sort of, $350 to $550, you're looking at $1,000 plus in terms of what that well can do a day, if those numbers stay as they are. And obviously geology is not an exact art. What you get at the start can vary considerably. But what we think is that 47 MCF was produced with brines, with water, still 1,000 feet over the perforations in the well. Or in other words, we're producing gas even though there's water sitting on top of it. So remove that water, which is what those water tanks, that I think we sort of sent around some photos the last couple of weeks. Those water tanks will store the water that we'll remove from the well. That could, should, might, hopefully increase that flow rate, in which case, those numbers I've just quoted, are hopefully a thing of the past. But anyway, with the water there, that's what it's done in the past. 47 MCF and 5.1% helium.
And that dewatering to start pretty immediately as well.
It will be part of the same process. So the pump, and we did put a couple of photos on social media this morning. The pump that we put on social media, that is the pump that's on site on Rost. So that will start the process of dewatering the well. And it's not instant. I mean, a bit like the other wells we've got over in the Hugoton. This is not sort of flip a switch and it all sort of works immediately. It will take a bit of time to take the water out. It will take a bit of time for the flow rate to stabilise. But again, what we've got in Rost is we know we've got pressure, we know we've got a high concentration of helium. We've got a PSA on site to purify that helium, and there's a couple of people in the area who are quite interested in taking it. I mean, at 5% helium, why wouldn't you be? So there's a lot of reason to be optimistic, I think, on this one.
And just on that point, you mentioned there people in the area wanting to buy. We talked about it's not close to the Scouts gathering system, so it has to be trucked if it's going to go to Scouts. But you did say, and the RNS mentioned there are other discussions going on. You probably can't disclose information, but if you can give an idea of sort of who's interested and when you might perhaps want to or be able to announce some deal here.
Yeah, we have a very strong partnership with Scout. So clearly they are one of the people we're talking to. We can't access their gathering system from where we are, or at least not economically. We'd be running a pipe for many, many miles. But what they do have is an access point, which is about an hour's drive away. So we could truck the helium mix to that access point, put it into that point, and then it goes to the Jayhawk facility where the rest of our production goes. I mean, other options are there are other producers and processors over in Kansas. So certainly we're talking to them. There's also people who buy direct off the industry. I mean, if you sort of go down the uses of helium, I mean, everyone thinks of balloons, but actually medical, space, defense, I mean, these are the areas that have the high value propositions. And there are people who buy directly from the industry. Now, I'm not saying we're necessarily going to do a deal on a sort of direct sale, but it is one of the ideas we've got. But the main fact is there is more than one party interested in taking the helium. It's very readily transportable. It's very readily processable, if that's a word, on site. And so we've got some options, and it's nice to have options.
Very nice to have options. And just a final thought that just crossed my mind here, of course, there's an announcement from ECR. Of course, I know you're involved with ECR as well quite a lot. ECR looking at doing something perhaps in the helium. Is there any kind of synergy here, crossover? I know, the management team does crossover. So is there any sort of thinking behind here?
Yeah, there's definitely a synergy. I've had a couple of inquiries from shareholders saying, does this mean that ECR is buying Voyager? I mean, that's not the case at all. ECR and Voyager already collaborate. This is not RNSable, so we don't necessarily make a big thing of it, but we share an office, we share a financial controller. I'm on the board of both. Mike Whitlow, who I work with at ECR, also helps out on Voyager as well. So that there is already an overlap. It's no secret that ECR has looked at other ideas. It's no secret that over in Kansas, we think there's an awful lot of opportunity, probably more than Voyager could manage on its own. And it's right and proper that we might share those ideas. But we're a long, long way from saying that ECR is getting involved or what the terms are. But the appropriate thing was for ECR to take a look. And if they do, and if ECR decides to do something, just as we do in the UK, there's probably some sharing to be done. Now, that could be sharing of local contractors. It could be sharing of local ideas. That's a long way short of, I think, what some people jump to the conclusion of, which is suddenly the two companies are coming together. Actually, it's more about two best friends working together, and if we can help each other out, then so be it.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Nick Tulloch, as always, the CEO of Voyager Life. Looking forward to speaking before the end of September. I'm sure a lot of things will be happening on site in Kansas. Thank you very much, Nick.
Terrific. Thanks, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.